air ride suspension, bar work, winches, lighting, tray and canopy, the full package ready to go. This is another WIG RIGS episode. So this RAM came to us from an existing customer who's one of the first actually to come see us back in the day. Bought a brand new RAM after seeing the WIG RAM and thought, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing. This was a full drive-in, drive-out build. This RAM came to us fully stock, and then we've added all the modification that the customer wanted, ready to tour the country with. So up the front here, we've got the Offroad creative bar. We've got the steady lights on here as well. Steady light bar integrated into the bull bar, and also the steady fog lights there as well. So plenty of light in the front of this thing. This thing is going to be touring the country, long distance, at night. You want to make sure you've got decent light on those outback roads to ensure you can see everything that's in front of you. We've also got the carbon 15,000 pound winch in there as well. GME antenna, which has also been added on as well. This bar obviously incorporates all the front cameras and sensors as well, so you've got no issues with any of the factory safety stuff in there. So we've got some KMC alloys on there. We've wrapped in a Razor AT and a 35-inch tyre. Now this thing is sitting pretty big, got 35s, big suspensions, fully engineered, 5.4 GVM, so you're on an LR license to drive this thing. You've got Fox suspension in here, adjustable suspension, all the BDS arms and controls, all the upgraded control arms, trailing arms, everything like that was part of the engineering process. On the side, we've got the amp research steps. Obviously, with the height of this thing, just makes it a bit easier getting in and out. For the stuff that this customer is going to be doing, protection on the sills wasn't really a main priority. It was more getting in and out of the vehicle. This thing's going to be towing a caravan, so the amp research steps just make it easy. We've then just added one of our Wiggly Engineering mud flaps on here as well, just to stop spray of mud down the side of the car. Now, obviously, a big step to get up in here, but once you're in here, it's always in a RAM, is nice and comfortable. So integrated into the dash is the quick connect for the GME XRS radio. So if you're not going on any trips or going away, anything like that, or you just don't need your radio lying around, you can quickly connect that, store it away, so you've got no radio on the dash or anything like that. Underneath here is some fancy buttons. Now these fancy buttons are for the airbag rear suspension. So I've got auto leveling on this, and then we've also got manual override. So with the flick of a switch, I can put these bags into a manual setting, which means I can lower these bags independently through these gauges and switches in here. Now I can lower it down to bump stops. I can lower it down to, say, put a canopy on the back. Once you're done loading up, or hooking on your caravan, or whatever you need to drop down the car for, flick the switch, we'll flick that over to auto, and then that car will then raise back up to its predetermined height. Now in the center console, that's where the gauges sit. That's where your switches are for your manual controls. Now these aren't accessible really when you're driving, as manual override switch is underneath the dash. Now this customer is going to be traveling the country with his caravan hooked on the back. Didn't need a hell of a lot in this train canopy, as most of it's going to be in his caravan, but it's a good place for storage for those day trips or quick weekenders, anything like that. So what we've got here is our standard XT standard tray for the Rams. And he's also got a headboard fuel tank on top of that, which I'll talk a bit more detail when we get around the other side. So with the Ram XT standard tray, you've got two massive under tray boxes here. We've then got our premium roof rack on the roof. Inside this side of the canopy, fairly basic setup he's gone for. It's purely just for, storing those items that won't fit in his caravan. We've got a dual drawer system here, which has already got full tools and all kinds of different things. Now, using our turn lock system to make sure that these drawers stay secure when closed, and it's not using the brake of the runner. And that's locked. That's not moving anywhere. It's also key lockable as well, so you can store some valuables in there and make sure it's actually locked and it's all secure, just like the canopy. We've then also made a panel on front of the canopy here for mounting 12-volt systems and stuff like that, as he's got his own 12-volt system that he will be installing. Then we've also got a partition just to segregate the two sides of the canopy. We've got hardcore lighting mounted to the door and the roof, controlled by the switch panel just here, with, as always, our bracing with our nutsert system, making sure that if there's anything extra you want to add, it just can bolt straight into our nutsert in the bracing. 45-degree bracing to make sure that these things can handle whatever load you're going to be putting on the roof. This, in fact, is actually going to have a boat and trailer, I believe, like an Almac boat loader going on the roof and staying there for when you're doing this trip around Australia, which you've already had several of our customers do anyway with boats on the roof. Absolutely no issues doing that whatsoever. Around the back, the customer has option for 235 spares to sit on the back here. We've then also got an adjustable fold-down ladder. Just easier to get onto the roof to tie down anything onto the rack itself. Customers also not optioned to go for any water tank on this tray, as it's going to be on his caravan and didn't need it. So we've just relocated the reverse sensors as we always do, and then we've also got the reverse camera hooked up in there as well. Now underneath here is something slightly a bit different. We've got some Schrader valves. Now those Schrader valves are used for the airbag rear suspension. So there's no coils in the back of this thing, just like the WIG RAM, just like the WIG 79, just like the OG WIG 79. That this customer saw what we've done with our vehicles and said, I want that. The Schrader valves are there to manually inflate the tires if there's an issue with the compressor not working or whatnot. You can then hook in an air compressor and pump it up manually to make sure that you always get pressure to those bags when needed. I've been fortunate enough to drive a few of these cars now with the air ride suspension, and I can just say personally, there's nothing like it. Driving a car, whether it's got a big canopy on the back or it's got no weight at all, the ride comfort is always the same. Comfortable, feels like you're driving a Rolls Royce down the highway. When you have versatile setups like towing, or you've got a few different canopy setups, you don't want to be having a constant weight spring that's determined on how heavy your car is going to be at its maximum load. If you've got, say, a big canopy like this one and you're going to be using it for work, you're going to be having the canopy off for a few weeks or a few months, you're going to be driving around with very stiff suspension, which becomes uncomfortable. It also becomes unsafe in driving the vehicle as the suspension is not suited to the weight that you're carrying. So the airbag suspension is a great alternative to make sure that the ride is comfortable whatever you're doing. This customer's obviously gone for the airbag conversion, as he's going to be towing his caravan. You don't want to be dragging the back of the car on the road. You want to make sure he's sitting at a level height. You've got suspension that can handle the weight of the caravan. You then get to your destination, just take caravan off. Those bags are going to change the pressure to make sure it's suited only for the weight that's on the vehicle at the time. This kit is all engineered and legal on the road. Now, the setup on the back of this is very similar to the WIG RAM, if not almost exactly the same. We've worked with the team at Ultimate Offroad in Furniture Gully to make sure that this package is available to anyone with a Ram 2500 pre or post rego that wants a airbag conversion, a bigger GBM, lift and tyres, all legal, all engineered. Now, passenger side of the vehicle. I'll start off with, there's a few things you can see in the wheel arch in terms of suspension. That arm there is actually your auto leveling height. That is an arm that's analysing where the vehicle's sitting and changing and adjusting the bags accordingly to make sure there's enough air in that system to make sure it's level as possible at all times. Obviously, you've got your Fox suspension and all the upgraded arms and stuff at the back here. So in the front box here is where your air compressor sits, which is controlling the airbags in the rear of the vehicle for any air needs that you need. So you've got the ARB 4-litre tank in there, you've got the ARB dual compressor, you've got the airbag airbag components in there as well, with all your auto leveling and valving and all that to make sure that the air's going to the right bag. Rear box, same thing. And then on this side of the canopy, we've got a 130-litre Bushman fridge. Now, the customer's already started installing his own 12-volt system. So what we've made is a panel to suit to fill the space between the front of the canopy and the Bushman fridge. And then he's gone ahead now and started to, mount some switches, mount some gauges and stuff from his previous vehicle. If you want us to install a power system, we do all the EnerDrive systems, we do the Redux systems as well and can install it. This customer's used what he had in his previous vehicle and just putting it straight into this canopy. Bushman 130-litre fridge, and behind that he's then started putting in his battery and inverter in there as well. Now, I mentioned the headboard fuel tank on the other side, and this actually has a 140-litre auxiliary diesel tank in the headboard. Now, fill point from up here, you've got your diesel filler, you've got your AdBlue filler here as well, so it's all filled from the central location. This tank is directly fed into the main tank, so you've got 140 litres on top of the Ram's factory tanks. All one big tank, so there's no pumps or anything to go wrong. It's just directly fed straight into the main tank of the vehicle. On top, we've got our premium rack. Most likely that's going to be coming off when he puts his boat loader on the top there, but that's your standard premium rack that we do that has plenty of mounting options and tie down points to mount whatever you want to the roof rack. So a complete drive-in, drive-out package for this customer. previous customer of ours. We're stoked to have him back on his new vehicle. Whole bunch of work's gone into this thing: airbag conversion, suspension upgrades, bar work, winches, lighting, everything. Big thanks to Ultimate Offroad for helping out with this one as well. If you want to know more about this build in particular, you can email us at info@wigleengineering.com.au. You can message us on Instagram, Facebook. Have a look at the rest of our YouTube series for all the builds that we complete here at Wigley Engineering. If you're after for a quote yourself, you can use our online quote form on our website, or give us a call on 97948311. Stay tuned for the next one. I'll see you then.